What is going on, y'all? And today you join me from inside the BRZ on the skid pad at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Now, in this video, we're going to be going a little bit more in depth on the new Z, my thoughts on the new Z from everything I've been seeing lately. Keep in mind, I have not driven it, but I wanted to go ahead and weigh in on it. And I also wanted to talk about why I think we need to see the new Z represented in more racing games, because I think we've seen it really underrepresented across the course of basically almost every racing game out there right now, apart from, of course, Gran Turismo 7. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about in relation to the new Z in the real world is the Haggerty drag race video, which of course blew up recently. Now, obviously, this car didn't really do quite as well as the Mustang or the Supra did in this video, and there were a few reasons for that. One, the Mustang and the Supra were on better tires, the Mustang had quite a bit more horsepower and torque, and the Supra was able to punch above its weight class in terms of overall performance. But I do also want to talk about the biggest takeaway that a lot of people on the internet seemed to have from that particular video, because I've seen this I've seen this floating around in almost every discussion about the new Nissan Z, and it's people saying, oh, well, the new Nissan Z is terrible because it can't do a burnout. It can't do a burnout, it's impossible, it's not happening. And I find that to be a very interesting statement, because even if the stock traction control or the stock computer prevented you from doing a burnout in the automatic version, you may still be able to either pull a fuse or fix it in tuning. Now, with the manual version, I mean, really all you have to do to find out whether or not the manual version can do a burnout is look at this post that was posted on Chris Forsberg's Facebook page. Now, clearly, that Z has been modified, it's been lowered, it's on aftermarket wheels and tires, but I'm not quite sure what all else was done to it, but it seems as though, and at least it sounds, quite stock. It doesn't even sound like they really changed up the exhaust, and of course I'll leave a link in the description box down below to where you guys can see that video on his Facebook page. Now, talking a little bit more about the Z's representation in video games, we've seen a lot of cars come to Gran Turismo first. We saw I believe the Mark V Supra was in Gran Turismo before it was in almost any other racing games, and then we saw it make its way into other titles like the Forza Horizon series and so on. Now, I would personally love to see the new Z come to something like Forza Horizon 5. I think there would be a lot of community interest in seeing it in Forza Horizon 5, especially considering the fact that there is a Street Hunter body kit available for the new Z already, which we have seen on Chris Forsberg's FD Pro car. Now, if we think about that a little bit more, that body kit, the Street Hunter body kit, that brand is also available on the C8 Corvette in Forza Horizon 5. So if we're thinking about it in the sense that maybe something there can line up, which I really hope that it can, we might have the potential to see that in Horizon 5 in the future with the Street Hunter body kit. Now, stepping out of the video game side of things for a second and going back to one of the photos that was posted on Chris Forsberg's Facebook page, I cannot wait for the aftermarket community to really get their hands on these cars, because this one, I mean, with a drop and wheels, holy crap, it looks good. Not only does it look good, but it really does keep with that modified Z look. It doesn't look like it goes outside of the realm of what makes a modified Z look like a modified Z, and it also looks like it would just fit into the framework of what the Z community likes, frankly. Now, the next game series that I'm really hoping gets the new Z at launch is the Need for Speed series. Now, there has been a lot of rumors about the next upcoming installment in the Need for Speed series, and hopefully those rumors point to a release date that isn't super far away. However, details about the next Need for Speed have been very scarce. I'm just really hoping that they give us a few things in the next Need for Speed. A, I'm hoping they give us top-notch customization. B, I'm hoping they give us, honestly, I'm hoping they give us most wanted 05 levels of police chases. And B, I'm hoping they give it, B? Wow, 2 B's in that? C, a proper open world environment with everything from open highways to a sprawling downtown city to some mountainous, twisty, windy toge roads. If they can do that, that would really honestly be all they would need in a map, I think. And if they could throw in maybe a racetrack or two and maybe a runway just for good measure, that I think would also add to the game big time. Now, obviously, with Need for Speed being very, very deeply about customization, I think the Z, more particularly the new Z, fits into that extremely well. And if we look back on the history of Need for Speed and Nissan Zs actually have a history in terms of hero cars and cars that were very well known throughout the series. For example, the 350Z from Underground 2 is still one of the most well-known and most popular cars from not only that game, but from the whole franchise. That particular car has made its way back into newer Need for Speed games by popular demand and has also been basically modded into almost every Need for Speed game that people have had the ability to mod it into. So in that respect, I think the new Z more than earns a place in the next installment in the Need for Speed series. Now, switching things back up to real-world topics, let's go back to talking about the new Z itself and talk about its price. Now, the price for the version that you're going to want for performance driving, i.e. the one that comes with a limited slip rear diff, is going to run you, at least in terms of MSRP, just a little bit over $50,000. And that's a pretty decent chunk for a Z. However, when you compare the car's power numbers and performance figures with other cars in its segment, the price starts to make a little bit more sense. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, and again, I haven't driven one yet. Now, I've watched quite a few reviews, but I would really like to drive one so I can see and actually form my own opinion on whether or not I feel like it is a $50,000 experience. Now, I've driven a Mark V Supra, and I really enjoyed that car. I thought it was really, really fun, but I did walk away from it wanting a manual, which thankfully Toyota has addressed, and as I'm making this video, the manual Supra will be out later this year, hopefully, fingers crossed. Now, another car that I really enjoyed that was in that segment was the BMW M2. However, I feel like when you're comparing new car versus new car versus used car, if you're comparing a new Nissan Z with the performance package to a used BMW M2, you might end up with a better performance bargain with a used M2. However, there are a lot of people that don't want to deal with the BMW-ness of a BMW, and the M2 isn't exactly immune from that. Now, granted, it is a very reliable M car, especially compared to some of the other M cars from the past, but it still doesn't fully escape the BMW-ness of it being a BMW. Now, one of my concerns, though, about the new Nissan Z, especially with it being a twin-turbo V6, is if you're going to be someone that uses it for, let's say, a lot of track days, or even maybe autocross. I feel like the autocross community isn't going to go after that car, but if you're using it for track days, or HPDE, or you're going to be building it for time trial or time attack, I would be interested to know if that twin-turbo V6 ends up having issues with oil consumption and heat a little bit later on down the road as it continues to endure more and more and more track work. Because as we know, running continuous laps around a circuit is obviously going to make things get hot. It's going to make coolant get hot. It's going to make oil get hot. That's why my BRZ has a oil cooler. That is literally the only engine modification that I have done to this car, because I wanted to keep everything as reliable as possible. So I left the stock tune, I left basically stock everything on the engine, and just put a gigantic oil cooler on it, and thankfully I was able to lower my temps down from, seeing 265 plus at a track day to seeing about 240 to 245 at a track day on average. And so I think that was a very worthwhile upgrade. Now, I really want to see, especially once the new Zs start to get out in the wild, I want to see how those oil temperatures hold up on a hot day, on a hot track, especially in, like, the southeast US. Whether it's like, especially where it's really, really humid out and it's really hot and the ambient temperatures are really high, I want to see if it can keep a hold on those coolant temps and oil temps. And not only that, but again, once the car has been out for a few years and they start to get some miles on those engines, I want to see how they do in terms of oil consumption when they've been running on a track for quite a while. But now moving back into the video game space, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below what game that is either already out or game that is on the way that you think really needs to get the new Nissan Z. And if the new Nissan Z was in any of these games that are either out already or are upcoming, would it end up drawing you back into the game? Would it make you look at it and go, that's all right, but it's not enough to get me back into the game? Or would it be like, oh my god, the new Z is in that game, of course I'm gonna play it no matter what the game is? So I know that that's gonna be a mixed kind of reaction, but I would really like to know where you guys are at about the new Nissan Z and about its presence in some, hopefully, or I should say, its hopeful presence in some upcoming games. I would really like to see that car have a really, really, really strong presence in series like Forza Horizon, Forza Motorsport, Need for Speed. All of these games, I really do think they need the new Z, and I think that not only do they need it, but I think it would be a real community favorite. So, hope you all enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit different, but let me know your thoughts and opinions on it down there in the comment section below. And if you're new around here, make sure to let me know your thoughts and opinions on anything that we talked about. And also, if you would like to see more videos like this one, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on, and I will see you guys next time. Talk to you all later.